Assalamu alaikum. Divine peace and blessings be upon all of you. Love has layers. There's a part of me that feels to go into the subject for a few minutes and feel what comes up naturally. I might have to close my eyes, as I often do when I'm speaking, but when it's on camera, there's this element of that's not the norm, but it just helps me to tune in to what I'm feeling. And I was reflecting on the way that love brings about a feeling of protection. When we love, we desire preservation of that which we love. When we love, there's an element of protecting that which we love. But love has layers. And the way that we love, be it ourselves, be it another, be it even a substance or a thing, is going to reflect or be reflective of the layers of awareness that we have. And that's why there's so much truth to the statement that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. To be more precise, I would say the way we do one thing is the way we do many, many things. And that can be interesting to look at, to observe in the different ways that this can be manifest. When we look around us, even in our own environment, what does that tell us about ourselves? It could be the most simple action, but what does that simple, seemingly simple action indicate of something more? So I was thinking about this aspect of love, loving the self, loving one's own self, and on often this theme of self-love, and how interconnected that goes with knowledge and seeking and awareness that is just, it's beyond the surface level, it's beyond the physical level. And so if you deepen your awareness in regards to physical matters, then that will shift the way that you interact with yourself physically. If you deepen your relationship to or with, some say God, Allah, the creator who made everything, then that is going to impact the way that you deal with yourself, the way that you love yourself, the way that you love others. So let's say that I'm operating only on a physical plane. I'm operating only on a physical level. That's my primary concern. That's more what I'm focused on. So that will then seep into my relationships. That will seep into my interactions, if that's my primary focus. If my primary focus of life is interconnected with the Creator, the one who made me, if it's interconnected with spirit, if I identify as a soul as opposed to first identifying as a body, then that's going to change the way that I interact with those around me, because I will see others as souls. And so maybe I won't focus so much on, well, what is good for this moment, but what is good for the lasting experience of that soul in front of me. And I feel that carries over so much with more recently different developments and creations and offerings with what I'm meant to do in this world and what I'm meant to do in this life. And really seeing the people who come to me, who cross my path, who reach out, who say, what do you do? I'd like to have a session, or I'd like to, come to a class, or whatever the case may be. And especially when we start getting into people paying, when people are giving their abundance or their money to you, looking at the person and really understanding that, okay, this soul has come to me for a reason. This being is here for a reason. And of course, this goes back to intention. Because if my intention for my life is I desire to have the greatest expression that I am capable of in my life. So Hasna Nazaha Abdul Majid Noel was born on such and such date, and within her DNA, within her muscles, within her tissues, within her cells, within her being, within her soul, there are certain capabilities. We're all encoded with certain capabilities. And we start to learn what those capabilities are over time as we explore life, as we experience, as we try things and make mistakes and do it all over again. We start to understand who we are. We start to understand, we see the patterns of our own existence, of our own life. And we're able to say, I am strong in this area and people benefit from me in this area. So we're becoming aware, I'm good at this. I have some ability in that area. But then it comes the time where it's not just mere acknowledgement, but it's a strong intention. It's a strong intention of, I don't know how long I'm going to be in this life. No one knows. My creator put me here. The one who made time and space, who made the universe, put me here, placed me here on this earth. Like, I'm here for a reason. So asking that one, we can then direct to ask that one, okay, you placed me here. I have certain abilities. I have certain gifts. How can I best maximize that to benefit myself, to benefit those around me, to benefit my family, to benefit humanity? Like, how far can this go? Really, like, how great could this be? But all the while acknowledging that it's not from you. All the while, in my case, acknowledging that I didn't make myself from scratch. I wasn't able to take nothing and make myself. So with that greater acknowledgement and the interweaving of those awarenesses, we come to that intention of, I may not have all the answers right now, but I am open to guidance, and I am asking the one to guide me, the one who made me to guide me, and also setting a strong intention. It's important to set a strong intention for your life, because once again, we don't know the future. We don't have all the answers. But if we set a strong intention for our lives and we say, okay, I'm intending that I can be of the greatest service to humanity. I'm intending that the people who I am meant to journey with and help, and they help me on this path, in this life, that they come to me and I meet them, and there's a resonance. And we recognize each other. I recognize them. They recognize me. Our lives are a result of our previously made intentions. Whether we recognize that, realize that, acknowledge that, that's a different story. But if you think about every step that you take, everything that you do, there is some kind of there's some kind of intention that was made before that then led to that end result of an action. But how many of us take the time to question and say, well, why did I throw that on the floor there as opposed to hang it up? Or why did I reach out to this person at this particular time of day when I was in this particular, emotion? Or, why do I dress the way I do? Why do I live in this country? Why do I still work at this particular job? Or whatever it is, I think it's so important that we question our day to day and get to the root of our motivations. And if we see that the end result is not giving us that which is nourishing and that which is sustaining life within ourselves and with that which is around us, then it might be an invitation for us to invite in something different. And once again, to question the origins of that. Yeah. It's interesting how this began, because I didn't know and I don't know where I'm going with this. I just know that I felt to share and to tune into the softer place inside of me, the tender place inside of me. That's actually in awe of the way all of this works. Like the unfolding of our journeys, the unfolding of our experiences, the confirmations that we receive, like the blessings, the blessings that come after the trials and the tribulations, the difficulties. Yeah. I remember there was a time when I first started talking on YouTube, and it's not like I have been consistent on YouTube, but I remember there was a period of time when I was really tapping a lot into the heart, and then I would cry, I would start crying. And I remember putting some videos up anyway, and how certain people, they were almost concerned. Like, are you okay? Are you going through something? Like, are you having a nervous breakdown? Because in our society, we have been taught to numb ourselves. We've been taught to, in mainstream society, to watch other people's emotions and pay them good money. Because collectively we look at what actresses make and actors, especially when they're in Hollywood. We pay good money and we pay good attention, because we're also paying with our time to give them our attention as they weave or bring to life a story that somebody else wrote about human emotion and interaction and conflict resolution. So we'll watch a movie where people are crying. We'll watch a movie where, somebody comes to visit another person and the person runs and jumps in their arms and they're held, and all of these strong displays of emotion and feeling, anger, passion, sensuality, fear, bitterness, hatred, love, ecstasy. We'll watch that as it's being acted out. But then when people in our scope have intense emotions, at times they cannot be received. And you have to, I'm actually thinking about this right now, because I didn't really, like I said, know what I was going to say before I came on here. But let's think about that. Someone has intense an intense emotional outburst or expression. And we've been taught to hold it. We've been taught to hold our gaze to that when it's in a movie, but not when it's in real life, in real time. And to just skim over it like, oh, that's happening. But what are you going to do about it? You don't have to do anything about it, but it's interesting. It is interesting to me that sometimes that ability to hold space for others, like we're taught to watch movies and hold virtual space for another person's intensity. But I think we need to learn how to hold space for our own intensity and then that of those around us. I was thinking about love recently, and how love has layers. And holding space for another is love. Being able to hold space for another person's emotions is a special kind. Sorry about that. Not everyone is necessarily called to that. Okay. Not everyone is necessarily called to hold that kind of space. And that love is not logical. I mean, this word it's such a powerful word, and yet none of us can agree what exactly it means. You know, in Arabic, I forgot if it's 32 levels. There's about, I don't know, let's just say it's definitely more than 20 different types of love. There's the healthy love, there's the balanced love, there's divine love, there's sexual love, there's the love that brings you into rage and brings you into almost like a state of being insane. So love doesn't look one particular way. No, it doesn't. But what is the balance of loving a person for who they are to you in a physical sense, a material sense, and who they are to you spiritually? And can we have relationships that are so beautiful within the spiritual realm that there's no need even for the physical as much? And I think that's what happens. That's what I found. Like when you're deep in your practice and you have that beautiful connection with the One, with Allah, with the Creator. And I'm not even there these days. I'm just being honest. I'm going to be very honest with all of you that I can't say that even I'm not. I'm talking about it, but it doesn't mean I'm there. You know, some of us, we have to talk about things so we can remember what was. Some of us have to talk about things so we can remember how we used to be. Some of us have to talk out loud in these formats so that we can remember and be reminded in a way that no one else will remind us. Some of us have to talk things out, whether in public or with a friend, so we can hear what others may not be able to say, and that will penetrate a very specific aspect and a very specific corner of the heart and hit a frequency that only you feel the way that you feel. Because there's no way we're all feeling everything the same way. That's impossible. If my entire makeup, if my body in a physical way, if my life experiences, if the very strands of my DNA are wound in a very specific manner, how is it that what I'm feeling is going to be exactly what you're feeling? There may be threads, there may be correlations, there may be alignments, overlaps. But I really think we're all having such an individual experience. But because human beings overall in the overall makeup and structure, we are similar. We are similar. Of course, we're going to have similar experiences, and we're going to have similar language because we're speaking common languages. But there's a point where there's a cap. There's a point when it comes to the human experience and the human spiritual experience where there's a cap in that there are threads, but then there's these thin strands that only you can feel the way that you feel it. So you have three people sitting together in remembrance. You have three people sitting together listening to the same poem, listening to the same verse, hearing the same recitation, hearing the same talk, but their entire life experience and the subtleties of their makeup cause them to interact with what they're receiving in a different way. Thank you all who are joining, even if it's for a few minutes. I appreciate it. So that's interesting that every one of us is having our own unique experience. And it can feel like we are sharing this together. We're sharing this experience together. So you must be feeling what I'm feeling, but that's not the case. The aspect of the shared experience from a tangible 3D level doesn't necessitate that the inner experience is being mirrored in exactness. It's not. And that's why that confusion happens sometimes, especially, let's say, in the area of even romantic love, where one is like, two people are in the same space, connecting seemingly in the same way, whether that's conversation, whether that's touch, whether that's the deepest form of intimacy, whether that's even prayer. And yet each one is having a completely different experience. And so you'll have two people and one is saying, yeah, but I felt this and such, and we were together and I was feeling this and we were together, but that doesn't mean they were feeling it just because they were with you. It's so fascinating. It truly is. And that's why I love this awareness that we are all teachers to each other. We are all lessons to each other, and as some say, gurus to each other, bringing that light to darkness. Every moment, there's some shadow. Like look around you right now in your room, wherever you are. There's shadows everywhere. Everywhere there are shadows. Under everything there is a shadow. Even if there's a light in the room, even if there's sun, there's always shadowy places and spaces that are ready to receive light. And a last thing, I think this will be the last thing that comes up is, and that I came to the conclusion, is that love doesn't have to be logical. Love doesn't have to fit presently into the framework of what was previous. We have these constructs and these ideas of this is what it means to love and this is what it looks like. And if it comes to especially romantic or marriage, it's a certain idea of a person must be like this to hold me. A person must fulfill these characteristics for me to feel and experience that which I desire to experience. And this is why many of us, especially when it comes also to the physical, and there's nothing wrong with having what you are physically drawn to. Absolutely. Everyone is different. But when it comes to the physical reality, we have been over and over and over presented a certain idea of what valuable love looks like. The love that's worth watching. The love that's, once again, worth paying for. The love that we will pay attention to. There's certain types of love that we are taught to pay attention to, where the man is a certain height and the woman has a certain proportion and she speaks a certain way and she dresses this way and this kind of house. And, we have all of these images that we've been given over time, over and over and over and over again, of what a worthy love looks like. Like when we see two people, like, oh, they look good together. What does that even mean? Who gave us that idea that there's a certain way to look good together? Now, I wasn't born yesterday, so I get the concept of, okay, two people, they look good, they're attractive, they match in some way, they're dressed nice, or they dress however they dress and it's similar and they match. I get it. But let's go beyond that and just think about the words that we're hearing all the time. Think about the concepts that have been given to us and whether or not these concepts have been supportive of the end result that we desire, which ultimately is interconnected with feelings. So all our life we look at, we see movies, we see music videos, and we see a certain kind of person with another kind of person, and they're having this love, and love has certain, once again, proportions, and love looks a certain way. And then maybe you don't look that way. Maybe you have never been in that kind of home or that kind of waterfall or that kind of, I don't know, whatever images are in your mind now that when you think of love or that have had an effect on you, did those people look like you? Maybe they did, but for many of us, especially if you're not of a certain race, a certain body type, a certain way of presenting yourself, there's no love story that I've never seen a love story in Hollywood with anyone that looks like me. I'm talking about how I'm presenting presently. Yeah, maybe if I took all this off and whatever, possibly, but as I am now, I haven't seen it. So what does that do to you over and over? But I have seen it in my community, for example, like when I was connected to mostly Muslim community. I saw all types of couples, all types of backgrounds, all types of races, all types of socioeconomic, all types of languages. When I was living in Yemen for a decade, excuse me, and specifically, I didn't even drink since I woke up this morning. That's why my throat is like this. It's 9:48. There were people from all over the world in this particular village that I lived in for 3 years. 2 years, then I took a break to take care of my health, and then I went back again. So 3 years, I'm in this village that is a center of learning, that people from all over the world, and when I say every socioeconomic level, yes, they're to study what? Sacred sciences based in Islam. And there's a reason why it's a science. There's these systems and there are these frameworks that are taught, and there's a method and there's a a layering, it's a step-by-step process. So it's not just haphazard. You just go there and we're going to teach you about Allah. No, it's not, even though that wasn't necessary to do that accent. But it was founded on centuries of learning and going all the way back to Prophet Muhammad. We say sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which means divine peace and blessings be upon him and all the prophets. So going all the way back to that time, like we can trace this wisdom, we can trace these teachings, this knowledge. And some of you get a taste of that when I'm reciting Quran, tilawa. Some of you get a taste of that when you come to me for sessions. Some of you have gotten a taste of that when I'm at a gathering and I open the gathering or close the gathering with that. But the point is, I saw so many types of people of all different backgrounds coming together. And it was just the opposite of anything you would ever see in Hollywood. It's the opposite of anything you would see in the mainstream. And so when I look at my life, I think, especially, even as a teenager, my parents got rid of the television. There was 2 televisions. There was a large one, there was a small one. And the large one was put out in the trash, not because anything was wrong with it, but because my parents said, we don't need a big TV in the house. We don't need it. Like, what is the point? And the small one they would take out when there was a documentary. So I think all throughout high school, the television, we only had a small television. They put it in the closet. And if there was a documentary, then we would take it out and watch it. And I'm so grateful. Like, I am incredibly grateful to have parents that were counter Western culture. I'm so grateful to have grown up with parents who did not care what the neighbors were doing, did not think you had to assimilate in any way, shape, or form, and instead created a household and created a life that was centered around what was their highest alignment. Because I cannot imagine what it's like to live in a household or with parents that are constantly looking at mainstream culture and influence and manipulations and thinking we have to follow that. And my children need to live up to that. I just can't imagine. I'm being honest. I cannot. And so many people, that's the whole thing. That's why movies like The Matrix were such a big deal, because it on some level made people realize there is an aspect to awakening beyond what I was given, and that oftentimes we've been generationally indoctrinated into a type of mental servitude and spiritual enslavement. Seriously, where there's not even a question. And a lot of what people are calling conspiracy theory is conspiracy fact. But if you don't study, and if you don't take the time, if we don't take the time to study and go deeper than what is being told on the surface, and it ends up being Instagram reel after YouTube video, after Facebook post, after, what is it that my friend loves to look at? She's always sending me something from it. What is the other one? It's so famous. TikTok, this and that. And it's like, you're just like Jonna, she sent something. Oh, it looked like wind blowing. But yeah, it's like you're being blown here, there, everywhere, right, left, up, down. With no center. Like with absolutely no center. And I've experienced it. So I'm not speaking from a place of, I got it all together. I lived in Yemen for this many years, in Damascus, and I studied Quran, and I was with Sufi women, and mashallah. And no. I'm still dealing with the results of living in a world where we're so connected to this and the effects of that. I remember when I would read for hours and hours and hours all day long, just reading. And now my focus needs improvement from being on these devices. And then it gets tricky because we're told, oh, but you can impact, in this format, and you can connect, which you can, but it's just the level of focus. It literally has to be like a laser. Like your mission has to be so clear that when you wake up, you breathe it. And when you go to the bathroom, you live it. Like even in the bathroom, literally, even in the shower, even when you are going to eat your food and who you choose to meet, and just down to the minute, it's almost like you have to be so on mission. And that's why, to bring it a bit, not full circle, but to bring it back to something that was said earlier, having that clarity of intention for your life, having that clarity of, I know why I'm here. Excuse me. I can look to the patterns of my life and see what my gifts are, but then also asking the Creator and saying, guide me to my highest mission. Guide me to the highest expression of my existence. Guide me to the way so that my time and my space is not wasted. Exactly, Jana. Yes, they know our highest currency is our attention. Like they say, you don't have to pay money, but you have to pay attention. Pay attention. Time is the highest commodity, and that we're never going to get it back. And if anyone is on their deathbed and they had billions of dollars or millions or whatever it may be, they would give it all away just to have one more day. But that's what I desire, to be in my highest mission. That's the intention. And to let that guide my interactions, my business, the way wealth comes into my field, the way that I show up in every place, every single way. And then to be surrounded by brothers and sisters first, and brothers who are also clear in their mission, and we support each other. And we intend to have a great impact that leads to generational upliftment. So it's not just about us. It's not just about our community now, but what is it that I can activate within myself so that this continues for the next generations as well. I saw something the other day that pointed out that our lives are a result of the kind of questions that we ask. And so my intention is to shift my questions so that my life has the greatest reach, and my energy and my time has the greatest reach. Doesn't mean I won't have moments of enjoyment. I think enjoyment can be so much intertwined with being mission driven, because when you're fulfilling your life's purpose and your soul's meaning and the highest calling of the Creator, what could be better than that? Like, what can be better than that? Like, the feeling I have when I'm surrounded by people and we're remembering the one, and we're bringing that remembrance in, and I'm sharing from that which I spent many years studying and working through. It's like my heart feels alive, at those moments. The times when I have different people that don't even know, and next thing I know, we're all weaving together with our hearts and with our vulnerability and with intention and with voice and with prayer and with Quran and with touch, and like basically all the elements that I love to work with. And I'm able to do that in one space at one time. The level of fulfillment, it's like, how do you explain? Or if I just meet a random woman on the road, somewhere like Uluwatu, by the beach, and she looking tired, walking up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down the beach in the heat, carrying sarongs that the majority of people are not interested in because they've seen it all before. But yeah, and I don't want to buy one myself, but I know I can still give to her. I can say, sit down for a minute. And I can lay my hands on her. And I have the luxury I wasn't planning to get emotional. I have the luxury of time to be able to be in a foreign country, someone I don't even speak the language because I just been lazy in that aspect. But you can still impart love in that moment and touch them and let them know, like, I see you. Like, I don't know what that's like. I don't know what that's like that the only way that I know to make money is to have some sarongs, and have to be on the beach in the heat, like hoping somebody buys a sarong from me. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I know with every fiber of my being that this life is not all that there is, and that the balance is coming. The balance is coming. There is a day when we all will be held into account, and I know that. And there is a day when all the justice will be served. And there is a day when the good works that people do in this life that are overlooked will be compensated in an eternal sense. And I'm so grateful that I know that and I feel that. And for those people who choose to study and go deeply, they can put the pieces together that will let them understand that without a shadow of a doubt, this life is not all that it is. And when we go into the next one, it is not from a place of ambiguity and, just this general dissolving into oneness. No, there's clarity, and there's a clear aspect of we and the one. And we get to experience that and taste that. But yeah. Whew, okay. I knew I was tuning into the heart space today, but I wasn't expecting it to go there. So yeah, love has layers, and that's what I wanted to begin with, and I suppose that's what I'm going to end with. I pray first of all that all of us who are here know that we are loved. First and foremost, that we can always tune into the highest love that comes from the one that placed us here, that never gets tired of us asking, that never gets tired of us requesting and seeking. And yeah. Thank you, Allah. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for making me. Thank you for giving me this life. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, even in this format, to reach whomever aligns at this moment. I ask that my life be of the highest benefit. And I ask that any abundance that flows in whatever form that it is, a reflection of this intention and this heart that is calling in all the levels of love, the human love, the divine love, the self-love, and may it all be woven in a tapestry that not only covers myself, but covers so many for generations to come. And I don't know exactly how that looks, but I know I'm setting intention for that. So Yogini, Thank you so much for being here. I'm not on any psychedelics. I'm not on anything. I just set an intention this morning, and everything that came forth here as a result of that. So peace and blessings and lots of love.